future. We're talking real money.
Welcome to another Friday. Hi, everybody. Don McDonald here with the Friday question and answer edition of the Talking Real Money podcast. So glad you could join me. Appreciate you being there because this is my favorite day of the week. T.G.I.F.B.I.A.Q. Yeah, T.G.I.F.B.I.A.Q. Thank God it's Friday because I answer questions, which is my favorite thing to do. Has been for a long time. Well, since I started doing a money talk show back in 1988. So I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to answer your questions. And it's really, really, really easy for you to ask them because all you do is go to our website. Just go to talkingrealmoney.com, click the contact form, and then speak on your device. That's it. And then I'll get it and I'll answer it, usually within a couple of weeks. So listen every Friday if you want your questions answered. That's it. That's all there is to it. And we do this every single week, just like we're doing it today. And let's start right here.
Hey, Tom and Don. I've been listening for over a year now and I appreciate all the advice you provide. I manage the retirement accounts for my wife, daughter, and myself. All three of us have IRAs that we have used to collect funds from 401ks after we leave companies, and we all three have current company retirement accounts. I use Quicken to track the portfolios, and Quicken is set up to download changes every day, and that allows me the comfort to know where we stand. My question is in regards to ticker symbols. Some of our retirement plans provide the symbols, and that makes it very easy, but sometimes they don't provide the ticker symbols. So if they don't provide the ticker, I look at the fund name and look it up, but the price doesn't always match. So if we are purchasing the BlackRock LifePath 2065 Index Fund, why does the price not match? It almost always seems like the retirement plan has their own special version of the fund with a special price. Why wouldn't they just use the existing fund? I feel like they are trying to hide something. Am I off base here?
Well, financial services industry, do you see what you've done through your bad behavior? You've made everyone, including me, suspicious. We don't trust you because you lie so often. However, in this case, are they hiding something? I don't think so. The only thing they're hiding, and they don't make this stuff clear because the people who set up these plans don't even understand them, and the people who sold the plan to your employer don't feel like coming and talking to you, apparently. But my guess, and this is a educated guess, is that the funds they're using for your accounts at this company, it's probably a big company, and the funds are probably institutional. So they're institutional versions of the funds you can find that's available to the public. The advantage to most institutional funds is the fact that they have lower expense ratios. They can pass along the savings to you, the fact that they're not dealing with the public. So it may not be a big saving, but there are savings nonetheless, usually. So that would be my guess. And I know specifically that BlackRock does offer both retail and institutional products. So I think you actually got a special version, which is probably better for you, albeit just a bit harder to vet. But that's my guess. And I would find out who your custodian is and put that question directly to them. But I'm guessing that's probably the case. Thank you so much for your question. And now, this one.
Hello, Tom and Don. This is John from Maryland. I hope all is well. I wanted to ask your advice on something related to backdoor Roth and mega-backdoor Roth. I make more than the current limit to contribute directly to Roth IRA, but I still want to have Roth money. I wanted to leverage the backdoor Roth to contribute the $6,500 for the year that I'm allowed to, but recently I learned that my employer's retirement plan with Fidelity allows for after-tax contributions, aka mega-backdoor Roth. My question is this: if my goal is to have the Roth IRA, does it make sense to only use the after-tax contributions which, by the way, allow me to contribute a lot more than the $6,500 per year, convert them to Roth IRA via the mega-backdoor method, and forget about the backdoor Roth to avoid any complexities. I would love to hear your feedback on this. Thank you so much for everything you provide. Take care.
Well, now this is a topic that doesn't come up very often. The mega-backdoor Roth IRA. It's not really called that. It's just sort of what everybody calls it. It doesn't have a real name. But the backdoor Roth is where you put money in a non-deductible IRA and then you convert that over to a Roth. Well, the mega-backdoor Roth is only for those who have a 401k at work that has a non-deductible portion. And these non-deductible portions are subject to non-discrimination rules and all kinds of stuff. It gets a little bit complicated as to where these exist. But if your company offers one of these non-deductible 401k plans, then that money is eligible to be converted to a Roth. And these things, generally speaking, it's like $43,500 that can be contributed to these, and that can be converted into a Roth either with an in-place Roth conversion if they're allowed by your employer, or an in-service distribution if allowed through your employer, which would mean if your employer allowed you to, you could take it out and put it into a Roth IRA outside of the 401k. These are, again, not available to a lot of people, but they're a really great way to put a ton of money away if you make enough money that you can put $43,500 into your non-deductible 401k every year. Does it simplify the process? Yeah. I mean, I guess if you make $50,000, you could do both. But yeah, I think it gives you the possibility of contributing a lot more money. But all of those qualifiers need to be met. You need to check with your employer and make sure that they allow the in-plan Roth conversion, or they allow that in-service distribution. So there you go. Mega-backdoor. Another one of those strange loopholes that the government left in place so that you can put a ton of money into a Roth even though you're not eligible to contribute to a Roth. And if you have questions, you can send them in at talkingrealmoney.com. But every Saturday, you can also call the show. We do a show on Saturdays that becomes a podcast on Tuesday and Wednesday. And you can call the show, and we're actually taking calls. This is pretty much every week at 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255 every Saturday from 3 p.m. until 5 p.m. Eastern Time or noon until 2 Pacific. Now, let's go to another question.
Hi, Tom and Don. This is Tammy. I love your show. I'd like to get your thoughts about helping out an adult child buying a home by financing a part of their mortgage, meaning giving them a loan for maybe not the whole amount, but maybe $100,000 at a lower rate of interest. So it would help lower their overall costs, given the high interest rates that we have right now. We would have a loan document made up by a real estate attorney, and we are well able to do this for them financially without putting ourselves in a bind. And our son is very responsible. We don't have any concerns about him meeting his obligations to make his payments. I'd love to get your thoughts. Wondering if you have any concerns about it, or if you think it's a reasonable thing to do to make it a little easier for him to get his first home. Thank you.
Well, I love that you're going to have this written up by an attorney. That's great because it makes it all legal. It could impact the child's ability to qualify for a loan. It just depends, because you're going to have to let the lender know that there's another loan if that loan's in advance, which probably basically it's becoming part of the down payment. So yeah, you would. You don't even have to charge a market rate really, but you're going to get into IRS rules on gifts, but you don't really have to worry about that because you have your lifetime gift exemption you could deal with, or your annual. Actually, on $100,000, it would just fall under your annual gift exemption, so you don't have that to worry about. For most people, the thing I would worry about would be throwing a wrench into the family's interpersonal relationship. If something happened and the child wasn't able to pay it back, the hard feelings that could result, but you say you've got that covered, so I think it's a very good thing. I think if you can afford to do it, it's not going to hurt your retirement. You help your child get started. I'm having a hard time finding the downside. You've got all your bases covered. You've got the legal things taken care of. You're not going to have to worry about any weird taxation because of the gift exemptions. I think you're good. I can't think of anything. Thanks for the question. And let's do one last one for this Friday.
Is it a good idea to pull money from my 401k to pay off my house, which is $140,000? My 401k is $500,000.
The correct answer, once again, is it depends. Depends on a lot of particulars that you didn't share. One, what's the interest rate on the note? What's the term of the note? How long does it have to run? Is it a fixed or a variable rate? What are you investing in with that money? I guess what it comes down to is just in broad strokes. If you're paying 5% or less on a mortgage, you likely can beat that, even with a CD ladder right now, which is very safe. So if you're in the 4 or 3 or 2 something mortgage rates, don't pay it off. Absolutely don't pay it off don't pay it off because you don't have enough money. You need that liquidity to live on in retirement. You don't want to tie that up in your house. That's not a good idea. In case you need money for an emergency, some big healthcare issue, it's better to have it liquid than to try to figure out how to get it the heck out of the house because it could be expensive. So we would both prefer that you leave the mortgage alone if it's at a lower rate and continue to invest outside in most cases. But again, it's one of those it depends kinds of things. Thank you all for your great questions. Please call us with more online at talkingrealmoney.com on the contact form, which isn't really a call, but we're going to continue to call it that for lack of a better term. And call the show on Saturdays, 855-935-TALK, 3 to 5 Eastern. And if you have a bigger issue and you want to spend some time talking with someone one-on-one about it, we will make a limited amount of time with one of our fiduciary advisors at Appella Wealth available to you without cost, without obligation, and without any high-pressure, annoying sales pitch. Just go to talkingrealmoney.com and click on the Meet an Advisor button. And once again, thank you all so much for being a part of this podcast. We really, truly appreciate you. Thank you so much for being there. Tell a friend or 10. And join me again almost every day, me and Tom, as we hang out with you, talking real money.
The opinions and views expressed on this podcast were current on the date recorded. Opinions, estimates, forecasts, and statements of financial market trends that are based on current market conditions constitute our judgment and are subject to change without notice, including any forward-looking estimates or statements which are based on certain expectations and assumptions. Although information and opinions given have been obtained from or based on sources believed to be reliable, no warranty or representation is made as to their correctness, completeness, or accuracy. Information presented on the podcast is not personalized investment advice from Appella Wealth. The views and strategies described may not be suitable for everyone. This podcast does not identify all the risks, direct or indirect, or other considerations which might be material to you when entering any financial transaction. Past performance does not guarantee future results, and profitable results cannot be guaranteed. We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for informational, educational, and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. The podcast is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Appella Wealth, a fee-only registered investment advisor. Please see Appella Wealth's ADV Part 2A on our website for information regarding Appella's fees and services. Appella Capital, LLC, DBA Appella Wealth, is an investment advisory firm registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. The firm only transacts business in the states where it is properly registered or excluded or exempt from registration requirements. Registration with the SEC or any state securities authority does not imply a certain level of skill or training. Appella does not provide tax or legal advice, and nothing either stated or implied here should be inferred as providing such advice. Thanks for listening, and please visit TalkingRealMoney.com for more information and important disclosure related to performance of any specific index or fund quoted in this podcast. Is anybody still listening?